My name is Lee Douglas, and this is my 7th practice speech. The Chinese president, after just visiting the U.S., said the following about United States and China relations. He said, "It is imperative to handle China-U.S. relations and properly address our differences in accordance with the principles of mutual respect, non-interference in each other's internal affairs, equality, and mutual benefit." Today I'm here to tell you why I believe that China is going to be the most important ally to the United States moving forward. And I think it's important to create a distinction between the word ally and friend. An ally is someone that you depend on. You depend on for something. It's unclear what, but you depend on them. A friend is someone that you can count on and someone that you trust. I'm not saying that China necessarily is our friend. We have our differences with China. I think that's fairly obvious. But I'm saying that moving forward we have to rely on China. And I'm going to tell you why by describing China's economic, global, and technological advances and how they affect the United States. So let's begin with our first point, which is economically China is going to be a formidable opponent or a friend to us moving forward. From ChinaReadyCompany.com, China's top ranking today on a number of global scales indicates the importance to U.S. manufacturers. China is number 1 in population, nearly 1.3 billion people. China has the number 1 middle class urban consumers, estimated over 200 million. It is the number 1 destination for foreign investments, over 60 billion in 2004. It is the number 1 exporter to the U.S. It is the number 4 world's largest economy. It will surpass Japan in the next 5 years and the United States in the next 15. And it is the number 1 consumer of steel and oil, and soon to be the largest manufacturer in the world. China is also one of our largest trade partners. There are 300,000 to 500,000 American jobs that are directly dependent on exports to China. And as our relationship with China grows and as their exporting continues to grow, so will those jobs for Americans. Finally, Keith Fitzgerald, the chief investment strategist for Money Morning, said, "A powerful China is coming, and we have 2 choices. Either we are on the table or we are on the menu." Good news from China's government and economy is good news for the U.S. Likewise, bad news for China's government and economy is bad news for the U.S. So let's move on to our next point, which is China's global influence. Along with China's growing economy, we also see that China has a clearly large growing in global investment in a global stage. And that's important because as China gains more and more power on this global stage, they are playing a bigger role in decision making, decisions that could positively or negatively affect the United States in some way. Which is why it's important to have them as an ally, because since they are making such big decisions that affect us all, having them as an ally might be able to have us have a say in what they do. A Pew Research Center survey released earlier this year found that in 23 of 39 countries surveyed, a majority of respondents said that China is already or will soon become the world's leading superpower, which is hard to hear coming from a United States perspective, since until very recently we were considered the world's largest superpower. But if it's true that China will someday surpass us in superpower status, then we have to keep fostering relationships between them so that we may be on their good side if such a day comes. So now we can move on to our final point, which is the technological advances that China has made. The following information comes from Adam Aston, a journalist studying Chinese technological advances. China leads in coal technology, and by deploying supercritical and ultra-supercritical coal combustion plants, which have fewer emissions and are more efficient than conventional coal plants like the kind the U.S. still uses, they are producing efficiency at a 45 to 48% rate, which is more efficient than U.S. plants that are producing about a 40% efficiency. China is also installing wind power at a faster rate than any nation in the world, and manufactures 40% of the world's solar photovoltaic systems. China is also developing metal air batteries, which can store many times more energy than standard lithium-ion batteries, Metal air batteries contain high energy metals, and they literally breathe oxygen from the environment they're in, giving them the ability to store extreme amounts of energy. If China is successful in inventing and maintaining these batteries, it is possible that they will cost less, weigh less, and are capable of carrying a 4-passenger electric car 500 miles without recharging, which is obviously a huge deal for people that run electric cars, or even people that run gas cars, that they might be able to upgrade, and then running that 500 miles without recharging is obviously amazing technology. These technological advances show the United States that a partnership with China is super important, because as they continue to learn and develop technology, maybe they'll share some with us. So to conclude my presentation, my purpose in giving this speech today was to show why China is going to be an important ally for the United States moving forward. I know I've said a lot, and this is by no means an exhaustive list of all the things that China brings the U.S. as an ally, but we've discussed the economics of why China is going to be important in the future, China's global influence on a large scale, and finally the technological advances that China is making that make them an ally that we have to have going forward. Finally, I'm going to leave you with a quote from CNN.com. They said, the relationship between China and the United States is the most important bilateral relationship in the world. Thank you.